connect now with Pacific Region Bureau Chief for Sportsnet, Craig MacEwen, who is roughing it in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Craig, take us through the Luongo trade, what the Canucks are getting back, and what you're hearing might happen today for the Canucks.
Well, Jody, tough assignment here. First of all, we bumped into Mike Gillis at this resort this morning, and Mike kind of suggested, what are you guys doing here so early? So I'm not sure what exactly is happening right now on the trade front. We'll get to some Ryan Kesler news in a second, but first the Roberto Luongo move, and you have to feel good for Roberto Luongo to be going home to Florida, but the Canucks feel pretty good in what they're getting back in return in this deal, and I think in a lot of ways it signifies the fact that Eddie Lack should be ready to go and play as a #1 netminder. Last night, Eddie Lack allowing just one goal against. He's been solid since getting into the National Hockey League this year, and the Canucks feel confident moving forward with him and Markstrom coming up to give him a shot in the NHL, that they have two really good young goaltenders. But I'm not so sure that the Canucks are done just yet. There's some talk about Alex Edler's name being thrown about, and of course the Ryan Kesler rumors. Last night at the rink, we saw Kesler huddled with his agent Kurt Overhart after the game. No doubt they were talking about the scenarios that are playing through. There were some reports earlier in Pittsburgh that maybe Mike Gillis didn't have the authority to move Ryan Kesler right now. I don't know if they're just trying to egg him on a little bit and force him into making a deal, but most people do believe that the Canucks are seriously considering making a trade that, of course, will really signify the fact, Jody, that this team is in a rebuild and not a reboot.
There's a rumor going around on Twitter right now, Craig, maybe you can clarify this. People saying that Gillis might be restricted with regard to possible Kesler moves by Vancouver ownership. Is that just a rumor that's out of thin air?
Well, it's hard to say, but let's be honest here. I mean, the Aquilinis do have a big say in this hockey team, and you just have to look to John Tortorella's hiring to see that they pushed for him. I'm not so sure that, you know, Mike Gillis had him at the top of his list. There has to be some talk back and forth with the owners. I mean, that Roberto Luongo deal doesn't get made if the owners don't decide that they're going to take some of that salary. So I'm not so sure that he doesn't have the authority, but I do know that he will be talking to his bosses and saying, hey, this is what's on the table, this is what we're thinking. Do you think it's going to be enough, or do you think that maybe we should hold off and try to move him maybe this summer when the draft is on, or at a time maybe where you think you could get a little more? But I think right now that the Kesler deal is good because there is that pressure of the deadline, and a lot of teams think they have a shot at winning the Stanley Cup. But bottom line is, Mike Gillis, I think, as far as I know, is able to make a hockey trade. He just might have to talk to his bosses before he does so. All
right, thanks very much, Craig MacEwen, with us live from Scottsdale, Arizona. We'll get you back to Sportsnet as your coverage continues on this Hockey Central deadline day. Thanks, C-Mac.